subscription services. We all either love them or hate them. And in this Trenton Talks, I'm going to be talking about the ones that I personally use, what I feel like is the great value that it may offer, or the bad value it may offer, the perks, and some of the not perks. Without further ado, let's begin. First of all, let's start off by talking about Google One. Now, if you don't know what Google One is, it's Google's subscription service which offers some perks. And I think the main perk that me and businesses use it for is the more storage. But what exactly else does it get you? AI. Because everyone loves AI. Everyone loves the creative work getting taken away by something called ChatGPT or Gemini. Man, I love sucking Gemini's dick. But the good things about Google One is that it's relatively low price for what you're actually getting. Google One does give you a ton of extra storage for Google products usage. For example, Google, Gmail, and Drive. And Gmail and Drive is something I use very frequently to communicate with others and to share files. For a good example, when we were doing the artificial podcast, Jackson would send me files using Google Drive, and I would have it stored on Google Drive. In fact, I have some recordings of artificial just still on my Google Drive. And so getting Google One is helpful for keeping those there so I don't have to worry about it and I don't have to get like a bunch of hard drives to kind of store things. It's also great for Google Photos because ever since I have Google One, I have a bunch of photos saved up from like me in 5th grade. Here's a picture now. Everyone loves me from 5th grade, right? Everyone loves the funny little fat kid that didn't know that the N-word was bad until I said it in front of a teacher. But that's a story for a different day. Okay, I didn't try to hear. I'm going to speed on the story. So one time my mom texted me with the N-word in it, and I read it out loud thinking that it was just a funny little swear word. No, it wasn't. I got yelled at by a teacher. Anyways, back to the video. But here's the bad things. Some of the storage options, like the one I have that's 100 gigabytes for $199 monthly, could have been offered for free. They could have just upped Gmail and Google products just to have 100 gigs for free. And honestly, I don't think anyone would complain about that. And honestly, I think people would have respected Google more if they just said, yep, cancel the 100 gigabyte plan, free 100 gigabyte only thing. Also, recently, I kind of ignore the point I made earlier with not having to worry about it, because there was a rare case where you did have to worry about it. Fairly recently, Google lost access to a bunch of people's files permanently in Drive. So yeah, if you are definitely the skeptical part of that, where you're like, yeah, I don't trust a $1 billion company with all my data. That's a good reason. There's one right there. And basically, for me personally, the only Google product I use a lot is YouTube. You're watching this video, I assume, on YouTube. It'd be kind of crazy if this is on X videos, right? This is on YouTube. And YouTube, you don't pay for storage. Google has storage for free, so I don't have to worry about that. But I am basically throwing $1.99 every month because I'm not consistently emailing or uploading Google Drive photos. The only thing I think I'm doing consistently is backing up Google Photos. So that's my personal perks and just a little bit of not perks about Google One. Overall, even though it's my least favorite on this list, I still feel like it's very, very good, especially for businesses.
More games, more features, more fun. Nintendo Switch Online.
Alright, next let's talk about a subscription service I actually use all the time, and that is Nintendo Switch Online. Now, if you don't know what Nintendo Switch Online is, it is the way you play online with others on the Nintendo Switch systems. So for example, one of my all-time favorite games on Nintendo Switch Online, or Nintendo Switch in general, is Mario Maker 2. I absolutely adore Mario Maker 2, even though most of the levels on there are made by 2-year-olds. They're like, haha, penis poo poo 57, ha ha ha. It's still a great time. Sometimes I find some really good creative made levels. But I have my personal gripes with this subscription service as well that we're going to talk about in here too. And one of them is a big complaint that I feel like me and maybe a lot of others have. I don't know. Haven't heard a lot of people talk about Nintendo Switch Online really in depth. If so, it's always like it's fine for what it is. And yeah, I mean it works. Okay, it works. At bare minimum, you want the subscription service to work, and it surely does. So we're good there. Good job, Nintendo. You did something that functions. But first, let's talk about the good things about it. Being able to play online is great, especially for someone like me who my friends are sometimes really far away in college, or we can't all meet up together. But a few of my friends have Nintendo Switches, and me included, and so we'll do like online games of Mario Party, or for example, we'll play Minecraft together on Nintendo Switch sometimes. And Mario Kart 8. Those are really great games that feels like it's very warranted to have Nintendo Switch Online for. And Splatoon 3, for example. Splatoon 3 is a great, great game that you have to have Nintendo Switch Online for, which sucks if you don't and you spend the full price. And I'll get into that because that really annoys me. I'm done like teasing that ahead. You can have exclusive access to new icons. So on Nintendo Switches, you have a console like user icon. Right now, mine is Toad from Mario Wonder, and they refresh it every month with like new icons related to games. And those icons you can also customize the border and the backgrounds for. It's really cool. I honestly think that it's probably one of my favorite aspects of Nintendo Switch is the customizable icon feature on Nintendo Switch Online, because those just look good. Like nothing on there looks low quality. Where if I just scroll through the icon section that's available for free, every piece is just like standard character art .jpg. Whoa! I love standard character art .jpg. And a library of old school NES, SNES, N64, Game Boy, and GameCube games. And that's a shit ton of games you get for the price you're paying on either the expansion pack or the regular pack. I personally have the regular pack, so I don't have access to everything, but I can still have like a good deal of old NES games. And the cool thing is about like the old school games, is you can play it online with friends. Like just because you know, like if you both have Nintendo Switch Online, just invite them to play maybe like Mario Party for the N64. There you go. You're playing Mario Party from like across the world. It's actually kind of crazy. I honestly think that Nintendo definitely handled Nintendo Switch Online better and better throughout the years it's gotten, and I'm very, very excited to see how it's going to be on Nintendo Switch 2 when they add the GameCube games in. But let's talk about the bad things about it, because I have a lot I can say about the bad. And I know that like us as humans tend to focus on the bad more. It's just something that we do. It's I don't know why we can't just like, you know, like you'll see, for example, the title of this video. Why do subscription services still exist? You're probably going to click on it because it has a negative connotation. When in reality, I don't think all subscription services are that bad. But there's something right in our brains that's like, yeah, that guy absolutely hates them. I can't wait to see how passionate he is about this subject and maybe disagree with him. I don't get why we're wired that way. Okay, enough of that small rant. Let's just keep going. Bad things about it. The price of the expansion pass. That's $60 a year for the expansion pass. That's kind of fucking insane. A Nintendo Switch game is $60 in itself. That's kind of it's hard to justify spending $60 yearly for a subscription service. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think that that's a good price. I know, Vine boom sound effect, controversial. Am I right, guys? Nintendo Switch Online being mandatory to play full price games. For example, Mario Maker 2 and Splatoon 3, two games I mentioned earlier, cost $60 when it's not on sale. And on top of that, you need to pay to use those games. You need to pay Nintendo Switch Online. So you're spending an extra $20 to $60 yearly just to play those games online, which is fucking insanity. I feel like if those games are full price $60 and they're like Nintendo made games, there's no reason to have Nintendo Switch Online being the factor, the thing that stops you from playing the games you played full price for. Like, I know specifically it says, like, before you even pick it up, that it's required. But honestly, how many people read, like, the backs of things? Or how many people, like, for example, when you make your YouTube account, either when you're just a content creator or you're just watching YouTube, you agree to terms of service. Who reads the terms of service out? I don't. I don't think any of you guys did when you first either got into this platform. For example, I'm just saying, and we are not gonna read the terms and conditions, and we're not gonna read it, especially when we pay $60 and it's like, oh yeah, let's just, I don't need to Switch Online, that's fine. Low selection of certain games. So I know that I did say that earlier. The old school library has a shit ton of games, but that's mainly for the NES and SNES. If you like the newer, older school Nintendo consoles, you're kind of out of luck. There are a very limited selection of games on there, and to me, it's not worth. If you are like a fan of like N64 and like Game Boy, it is not worth getting Nintendo Switch Online just for that. I will say that. Free play days not being constant. So, for example, Xbox Game Pass. I do not like Xbox Game Pass, but I will give them that. They do have free plays where it's like a consistent like flow of free plays. So, like, it will either, I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's monthly. So every month they'll have like a free game that Xbox Game Pass members can just play for like a week. Nintendo will have it once in a fuck all on a maybe, and you get to play it for 2 days, and it's just like, oh, okay, well that's not worth it. But yeah, that's my personal gripes and personal good things about Nintendo Switch Online. Let's continue, shall we? Because we still got a bunch more to go, and this video is already 10 minutes. Yippee!
Type in the name, like, oh, I don't know, My Hero Academia.
Alright, let's talk about Crunchyroll. Now, Crunchyroll is basically the only anime subscription service you're probably gonna need. They unfortunately have a monopoly, and monopolies, everyone knows, aren't the best thing, when there's wannabe competition. Because imagine, you're starting a new anime streaming service, and you're going against Crunchyroll. You're gonna fucking fail. You are just gonna fail in general. But yeah, I'll talk more about the monopoly side of Crunchyroll in a second, and that has definitely led to some pretty bad decisions that they have made personally that I don't agree with. But without further ado, let's just get into Crunchyroll, shall we? Good things about it. There's a wide selection of anime to choose from. Crunchyroll, I think, has over 1,000 plus like anime series, movies, TV shows, and they even have Japanese music on there too. Really weird variety for a subscription service. I know. I don't understand it. But there's a bunch of sub and dub options on that site too. So there's a bunch. Personally, like me, when I watch anime, I'm much more of a dub person because I like to actually like understand what's going on without like reading the subtitles. And like sometimes when I'm watching anime, I'm doing something else to the point where I cannot constantly look over my shoulder and see the subtitles, which I feel like is fair. And that's why I just prefer dub better. But Crunchyroll has a good selection of both sub and dub, and they're constantly adding both sub and dub all the time to that streaming service. So it's a must-have for both parties. And usually episodes come out subtitled most of the time, 1 to 2 hours after Japan. So if you're like looking for a new anime series to watch, bam, Crunchyroll already has that series on there. And if it's still airing on Japan, bam, there you go. This next episode you might be waiting for, same day. And that's kind of crazy. I don't understand what Sony's doing at their sweatshops for this to happen. But I'm not mad about it. I will say that. Okay, here we go. Here's probably the good chunk of the Crunchyroll rant, because I do have a lot of bad I can say about this company and about their streaming service. Which is why there's so much more in the bad things than there's in the good for this one in particular. They created a monopoly. Basically, there was Funimation. Funimation was my favorite anime streaming service before Crunchyroll. What happened is that Sony, who owns Funimation, bought Crunchyroll from Warner Brothers, I believe, shut down Funimation and merged the entire Funimation library into Crunchyroll. So now Crunchyroll just has the biggest monopoly ever, and small anime streaming services like, for example, High Dive, High Dive gets breadcrumbs compared to what Crunchyroll has, because Crunchyroll's taking all the big fucking shows because they're the powerhouse in the US. Well, High Dive gets like, let's just say, for example, Redo of Healer. Redo of Healer was the only show that I heard that's coming on High Dive in the past 2 years. While on Crunchyroll, I've at least heard 15. Like, it's insanity. They have recently started using ChatGPT for translation for captions. And as we all know, AI is not the most consistent thing ever. And in fact, I'm tired of hearing companies talk about AI every 15 seconds while the investors hold a gun to their forehead, waiting for them to shoot them if they don't comply with AI. I'm tired of hearing about AI, really. And things like this, for example, you can tell they just used it to please the investors and kick out human workers. And that's something that's fucking absurd. Like, that ruins like experiences that the human workers do have, and that ruins their human workers' creativity and like passion for their work. When at any moment, bam, you're fired. Have ChatGPT translate the fuck word from Japan to English. Hooray! We did it. We did it, guys. Cheer! Cheer! Recently they started also lowering voice actors' pay. Yay! You know, the things that make the characters, talk, they start lowering their pay, which is fucking crazy. I couldn't imagine, getting a bunch of people around to do voice acting stuff, and then being like, hey, I'm gonna pay you breadcrumbs and a fucking free Baskin Robbins coupon. Like, no. I want to, personally, if I was to ever voice act for things, I want to make sure that I could be comfortably paid and not worry about it. But Crunchyroll is making it harder when costs are raising, and Crunchyroll is lowering the price for voice acting staff because they're like, oh yeah, you can just put Crunchyroll on your resume and get better jobs. Like, yeah, that's true, but also you gotta pay your talents good or you're gonna lose talents. It's crazy how this company cannot treat humans with respect. And it's unfortunate that I have to pay to watch anime on this company that can't treat their human workers with respect, because I'm not one to pirate. I have never been one for piracy, and I like to pay for things legitly. So it's fucking awful when the way that I have to pay things legitly actively harms other humans. It's not a great feeling. Probably the least important one that I've been talking about is that UI experiences throughout different devices are inconsistent and won't save off what you're watching sometimes. Like, for example, I'll go on a Roku device and watch Crunchyroll. It will look the same on my Apple TV. On like Apple TV, it will look the same on Google TV. Hell, even and then you watch on game consoles and it's a different UI, especially on Nintendo Switch. And then you go on your computer and it's a different UI compared to that. And then you go on your phone and it's a different UI compared to that. I just don't get it. It makes no sense. Is it really that hard to build a consistent user interface? Is it? I don't think it is, right? Because YouTube does a good ass job at least making somewhat consistent. Hulu and Netflix, consistent basically. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I really don't. Alright, now we're finally back to talking about silly things that won't make me angry. Fortnite Crew. Now, I consistently use Fortnite Crew because I honestly feel like that's a really good value, but I'll get more into that. So, here's the good things about Fortnite Crew. And the Fortnite Crew thing, I'm probably going to speed rant because I really don't have much rants or much complaints about it at all. I think it's really good, and honestly, for Fortnite players, you should get Fortnite Crew if you are consistently playing Fortnite. Now, if you're for example, you go 2 months on and don't play for half a year and then come back and now there's a Darth Vader AI that tells you what his McDonald's order is, for example, then I don't think Fortnite Crew is for you. But let's list it off, shall we? So, good things about Fortnite Crew. It gets access to the Music Pass, Lego Pass, Battle Pass, and OG Pass. And that's great when Fortnite has a consistent stream of content going and you can just pay a relatively low price to get all 4 of those passes. It's kind of insanity. you get exclusive skins and styles. Like, for example, there's a skin coming in this June that I can't wait to receive as a Fortnite Crew member because it looks sick as fuck. I honestly love it. And then you get free 1,000 V-Bucks on every month you renew Crew Pass, which is insane. It's insanity, because then you can just go in the item shop and buy things you couldn't earlier. You know, it's actually like a really, really good deal, which is why I don't have much negative to say about it. But I still do have my personal gripes. And again, it probably won't be as long as the other segments. Thank God. So, one of my personal gripes with Fortnite Crew. It's a higher cost for what it is. You pay $11.99 monthly, and there's no yearly option to do this. Now, with another subscription service from a game we're going to be talking about, that there's a yearly option. I pay yearly for that. Here, I have to pay monthly, and there's a relatively high cost monthly. But again, if you play Fortnite consistently like I do, you are easily getting your money's worth. 100%. So that's not really that bad. And like the last thing is V-Bucks don't carry to Switch. So for example, I pay for it on the Microsoft Store. So those V-Bucks don't carry to Switch. Platform exclusive V-Bucks don't carry to Switch. And that's more of a Nintendo problem, so I'm not going to fault Epic Games for it. But honestly, like I said, Fortnite Crew, really good deal. Seriously, if you play Fortnite consistently, you definitely should get it. There's no personal gripes against it for me. Editing Trenton here. I forgot to mention this while recording the videos, but we are now heading into the top 3 of the subscription services, and these are ones I use like every day, and these are the ones that I highly recommend. So without further ado, let's get to the top 3 finally. Thank fuck. Alright, now this one might actually take the second most. So we'll see how this goes. Hulu, honestly, one of the top 3 now of subscription services, by the way. Hulu is definitely one of my favorite like decisions I've ever like made to just jump on something. And here's definitely why. Because Hulu, unlike Netflix, does not have an overwhelmingly amount of content. Now, back when my family had Netflix, every single time I went on Netflix, I was personally so overwhelmed of what to watch, to the point where I didn't watch anything. And I just kind of sat there and was like, I'll go on YouTube, or I'll go on something else that will catch my eye. Because everyone knows that Netflix pumps out so many originals, it pumps out so much shit, to the point where I don't think they really care that much about what they're actually pumping out. And so it's just riddled with content where it's just like, where, for example, Is It Cake? You know, everyone's favorite show. Everyone loves Is It Cake? Yeah. So not overwhelming amount of content. A good variety of genres, in all honesty. Hulu has every fucking genre you're looking for, probably. Almost every genre. If you're specifically looking for like World War II documentary style drama, they might have some of it on there, but it's not gonna be like a shit ton. Hulu compared to Netflix has great originals. And for example, the time of the week I'm recording this is the week after the Gumball teaser trailer got announced. That's gonna be a pretty good original. They have the Futurama reboot on there. That's okay, you know, that's not that bad. But I don't think streaming services, in my personal opinion, offer great original content anyways. So to see something like Hulu doing that makes me feel happy. I don't know why I said happy like that, but we're just gonna run with it. And not a crazy amount of ads. So I pay for the ad plan on Hulu. And honestly, I don't think the ads have been too intrusive compared to like what I've seen on YouTube or like other streaming services. For example, like Tubi. Tubi's free. I use Tubi, but there's a shit ton of ads on there, which makes sense. They gotta make their money somehow. So I'm not really faulting that. And there's still good shit to watch on Tubi. In fact, some of the shows that are on Hulu are on Tubi. But let's get into the bad things about it. Prices constantly change. Specifically if you are on the no ads plan. Because for the longest time, I was on no ads plan. And there was a rate where it went from $16 to $18 in 3 months. It was raising an average of $1 every month for when I was using it, which was fucking insanity. And I couldn't imagine just paying an extra $1 for no change every month. So I'm glad I switched to the ads plan, because that kind of felt like I was getting scammed a little bit. Which is one of my main problems with streaming services in general. Not subscription services, streaming services. They feel like a scam sometimes, when they constantly raise prices and take content off. For example, HBO Max, so I guess in this fuck all case, Max. Wait, no, it's the other way around. Okay, so so HBO Max loves raising prices and loves removing content, and everyone loves it when streamers do that. I love spending more money every month. Yay. There's no more password sharing, but that's just a general thing that subscription services have done recently that annoy me. And then Hulu and Disney Plus. Now, they really, really are pushing for that plan on Hulu's website. I guess it makes sense. If Disney bought Hulu like they did, which they did, they would probably want to combine it in some way with Disney Plus, but not fully combine it to the point where they're losing money. So Hulu plus Disney Plus is the best option. But, like, there's so many hurdles to go through if you just want Hulu like me, to the point where it almost makes not going on Hulu invested, like, worth it. Because you have to go through, like, 4 fucking different tabs before you even hit checkout just to get to regular Hulu plans. Which is insanity. But yeah, no, Hulu, honestly, one of the best streaming services out there, seriously. And I'm not just saying that because I've been a Hulu subscriber for 2 years. I genuinely believe that Hulu, especially with the backing of the Walt Disney Company now, can thrive and beat out Netflix easily. Because Netflix, the first one, was great for a while, but now it's definitely looking like a joke.
YouTube Premium is expanding the availability of Premium Lite.
Alright, we are almost done, I promise. This is a long Trenton Talks. Thank you for being with me. I pinky promise you we are almost done, okay? Me and you will get through this together. You can go back to playing your game and not worrying about what I say in about 5 minutes and tune into Reddit stories if you want. You could go back in 25 minutes to living life and touching grass. Yay. So now let's talk about YouTube Premium Lite. YouTube Premium Lite was probably one of the better things that Google has ever done, especially in the YouTube scene. For someone like me who was very unhappy with YouTube Premium with the price jump. So here we go. What is good about YouTube Premium Lite? It's low cost. It only cost me $7.99 monthly, which is insane, and prices you don't see for streaming services anymore. That's kind of hard to beat. That price is kind of hard to beat when you get access to all of YouTube ad-free. And YouTube Premium Lite, if you're a YouTube Premium Lite or YouTube Premium subscriber, the creator you are watching still gets money. They still get all the money that they would normally get from an ad view, just because you pay for YouTube Premium. But by the way, I am genuinely... Hi, Bagheera. Bagheera? You want to say something? Bagheera? Bagheera? Bagheera, come over here. Bagheera? Okay. I don't think he wants to talk, guys. I think he just kind of wants to be there. Right? You kind of want to be here, don't you? But with YouTube Premium Lite... I'm losing my train of thought. This is all your fault. But with these streaming services, like the top 3, I'm not going to have much bad to say about it. Because genuinely, these are some of the best value things I've ever subscribed to. But let's start with the bad things about YouTube Premium Lite. Ads on homepage and ads on music videos, which is fine because I use Spotify anyways, and I just mooch off my family plan that my family has on Spotify. So I don't need to worry about it. But if you're exclusively looking for ad-free music videos because you use YouTube Music, you're going to need to subscribe to regular YouTube Premium. You can't download videos to play offline, and like that's a minor thing because realistically, who watches YouTube when they're offline? When I'm like offline, I play offline games. I don't really focus on, oh no, my creator uploaded it, shit, I can't watch right now. I'll watch it I'll watch it in a few days, it's fine. And the most annoying part about this is, I'm not even gonna lie, this annoys me to no end, is can't you cannot use background play on YouTube mobile. So, for example, sometimes when I'm cleaning the house, I'll listen to a few podcasts, such as like the Smoshcast, one of my current favorite podcasts. And I use YouTube for it because I just think that the YouTube versions of podcasts sound and look better. So when I'm over there cleaning and I turn my phone and like screen off so I can save battery on YouTube Premium Lite, it stops the video. And honestly, that's the only part that is so fucking annoying. And it's awful. It's a weird change. I don't understand why they did that. Because I don't think it would cost too much more money just to have it go off in the background play. Like, bitch, it's my battery. Like, come on. But you might be wondering, Trenton, what is your favorite subscription service then? Since you just since you just complained about 5 others and the shady business practice for about 30 minutes at this point, maybe, give or take. I'm not sure how long it's been. So what is your all-time favorite subscription service? Well, the shirt I've actually been wearing has been a hint to the answer the whole time. For example, let me just stand up real quick. What does it say? What does my shirt say? So, my all-time favorite subscription service is Just Dance Plus. And that's because Just Dance is my all-time favorite video game series. So I'm a bit biased here. But let me explain why I personally love Just Dance Plus as much as I do. So let's start with good things about it. So Just Dance Plus has 500 plus songs from previous Just Dance game, and they're constantly adding back old songs and adding new songs into the mix too, which can help have a great party and great dance time. Like, I personally play Just Dance alone all the time. But with the good mixture of songs they have, I play for a lot longer because all of them are fun to do, and all the songs are songs I personally already listen to. It's great. It's a low cost, which is amazing. Trust me, the low cost part for getting how many songs you do is fucking amazing. Only paying $25 yearly. That's a fucking deal. That's a pretty good deal. But let me talk about bad things about it. So bad things about it is you can't play songs with other people who don't have Just Dance Plus. So if you play online and you're like, oh, I want to play Vespertine with like 5 other people, you can't do that unless everyone in your party has access to Just Dance Plus. It does not have every single song from every single Just Dance game, which is kind of a bummer, but you kind of get used to it after a while. And you can't download songs to play offline, which is probably my least favorite part of that whole thing. But Just Dance Plus is honestly still such a really good deal, and I honestly think it is worth the cost. And if you do pick up a Just Dance game and get Just Dance Plus, I guarantee you'll play Just Dance a lot more and have a lot better time with it. But anyways, guys, you have finally made it to the end of this Trenton Talks. Wow, look at you go. I think that might have been hard. This one might be a pretty long one, so thank you for sticking with me. I hope you are enjoying the new editing and video filming style I'm trying to do for Trenton Talks. Let me know down in the comments below if you like it or not. Because if so, I could always change it back, but I like this a little bit better. I like to actually be able to feel like we're having a one-on-one conversation face to face, even if we're not. Over here, okay, my camera's inverted. Over here is more Trenton Talks for you to enjoy. Please do like, comment, and subscribe if you want more Trenton Talks. I'll keep doing it until I die, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyways, thank you for watching. Goodbye.